the good stuff.
Welcome back, everybody, to Goodwill Podcasting with Dan and Stone, your movie podcast that today is talking about Superman. The start of the DCU, not to be confused with the DCEU, is finally here. Of course, directed and written by James Gunn, starring David Corenswet, Nicholas Hoult, and Rachel Brosnahan, and a bunch of other people that we will get into. Of course, we will be reviewing the movie, talking about the deep messages behind it, but then also I think a lot of the controversy that has come with this, a lot of online hate from two different director fan bases and just people in general from both sides of the political spectrum. It's a wild movie to talk about, and me and Dan thought it'd be a great idea to get someone else's opinion that differs from ours on the pod. And he put a review out, and boy, oh boy, was that something. So much so that Dan made a video about his video. Great video, by the way, defending our friend Sean, Modern Mythos. Thank you, man, for joining us so late, taking time away from your family to talk about Superman. And I just want to say this, a hero that you love, that you are a fan of, no matter what those haters say, man.
Thank you, Stone. I really needed to hear that. I'm hoping this pod's therapeutic for me. I think I need like a long form to talk this out with some friends. Like that, for those that don't know me, which are probably most of you, I put out a video that I gave it we'll talk about later. I gave it a decent review, pretty well thought out, and it got absolutely fucking fried in the comments, more so than I've ever had in my social media career thus far. And it's fine, all is well. I'm getting paid for it, so thanks for the bag. But it's the controversy is fun, and I think the two of you guys and me are going to have a good conversation about it, because there's this, I don't know, I'm so tired of the toxicity. I'm sure you guys are too. Fandoms need to chill, and I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah, I mean it's bad kind of all the time, but like with fandom stuff like this, it's kind of amplified. But like I feel like random movies have like insane like I've seen some wild comments, but like we knew like this stuff was kind of primed for a while. I feel like a lot of like, I think some people on the Snyder side were like working themselves into a frenzy, getting ready for it. Some people were like doing the same thing to defend it before they even watched the movie, and it's just like, it doesn't have to be like that. Like it's just a fucking superhero. Like it's not that serious. But like we kind of all saw it coming down the tracks for a while, I think.
Yeah, the runway was very clear.
Going to happen, Sean.
Say it again.
I'll say you even knew it was going to happen. You were prepared. Or
I knew.
You thought you were prepared, but still they surprised you.
I don't know. Like we'll talk about it, but I went into it like cautiously optimistic and came out less than thrilled. And I knew when I put this out, I was hoping it was like the one video ever I was hoping that would just kind of fall into the ether without many eyes, and just like maybe you guys would see it and my mutuals, and that would spark some conversation. But I think the fact that it was out before the movie released, and that triggered some people, because people see that as negative press, giving me way too much credit, I believe. And yeah, so that was crazy. Shocked at the reaction of it, but maybe not so based on the two fan bases that we're about to talk about.
And I mean, it makes it even more insane. I think I texted you, like, when you watch something early and you don't like it and you get that response, it's majority people that haven't watched the movie, which makes it like, I'm truly like, are you okay? Like you're attacking someone based on something you haven't even seen. I've had people come back to me like a week or two later and be like, hey, I'm sorry, the movie was ass. Like, after like viciously attacking me, and it's like, just take a breath. Like, you haven't seen the movie. Like, it's very odd.
It's become like, I don't know, it's kind of how like American politics are right now, just like rooting for sports teams. It's like, this isn't fucking Eagles versus Cowboys where like we're just digging the trenches and just like eating the people on the other side. Like this is like we all love the same things, and it's just like maybe some slightly different preferences here and there. But I don't know. That's just the internet these days, and maybe we just got to learn to live with it.
Yeah, I really don't understand it, because breaking news to any James Gunn fans that are listening right now, one day someone else is going to make a Superman movie. And I don't get it, because you will still have people who like Zack Snyder, Man of Steel. You still have people who will like this Superman 2025. And then that movie will come out, and you have people who like James Gunn's version who won't be excited for that newer movie, or you have people who still like Zack Snyder's version who won't be excited for that movie. And I just don't understand, because at the core is not the director, and it's not the casting, it's the hero, right? That is, you love his story. And even though there are stylistic choices that are made by each filmmaker, that is the drawing factor of each of those pictures. So I don't necessarily understand just gatekeeping yourself and not opening yourself to possibly enjoying a new picture of one of your favorite superheroes. Like, this is probably going to get a lot of people turned off this episode already. I just watched Man of Steel for the first time. I've seen many, many, many clips. Michael Shannon, by the way, best part of that movie.
Well,
I will find him.
Let's do a whole podcast about Michael Shannon.
Yeah. I like Zack Snyder's visual style better. I don't know what he has been drinking lately to fucking make him do so much slow-mo. Not nearly as bad back then. I don't know what he's been on. But I like aspects of his movie, and I like aspects of this movie. And I'm sure you're the exact same way. There's something in this movie, even though I know what your rating is.
I cried in this movie. Like, people are acting like I came out. I'm not going to like shit on anyone now, but I remember scrolling and I saw people, you could probably picture some people that were like happy to give a negative review, and those people, I actually don't know if they'd seen it yet, because they're just like that side of the fandom fueling off the hate and everything.
I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, so it's just like, that's the type of person. I sat there and I was like almost crying on camera saying I didn't enjoy it. I like called our friend Brock after I saw the movie. I was like, dude, this fucking sucks. Like, I wanted to love that so bad. So I agree. Like, there are parts of the movie where I was like, this is awesome. I love the other versions. I don't know. We all love every version. Superman and Clark would be disappointed in both sides of the fandom, probably, in the extra sides of the fandom.
I also will say, I just think it's cool. Like, this is all negative, but like, it is cool to see Superman generating this much discourse. Like, he is a good hero, and he's an interesting hero, and he oftentimes, I think, he's kind of fallen to the wayside. Really, sort of since Man of Steel, but even before that, I just think like he's someone who's not often valued in the way that he should be. So I think it's at least good that he's at the center of conversation. And at least, like, regardless of how you feel about the movie, most people like Superman, and they like Core and Sweat, and they like the character. So I think it's fun to see that.
Dan, it'd probably be getting into maybe non-spoiler reviews here first. It might be interesting to hear your point of view, because you actually just got done watching the movie for a second time, which we talked about before we jumped on. I'm jealous of, because I was going to go today, but then I found out that I worked, which sucked, and I didn't want to be at work. I wanted to be in a movie theater watching Superman. But you dropped it down. I saw a comment be like, bro, like you said a lot of positives, and then someone's like, but dude, Dan, you dropped it down a half star. Why was that? What did you see the second time around that you didn't see the first time around? And again, what are your thoughts on the movie, I guess?
One big difference, I mean, when I first watched it, first of all, like, I think atmosphere always has an effect. Like, maybe I can start by saying I'm almost at a point where I'm like done giving things star ratings are so fucking stupid, and I think star ratings are like, this was my beef with Letterboxd before I like gave out my Letterboxd. I'm just like, so much of this and so much of the made up hatred and discourse and all this bullshit comes from star ratings. You slap a rating on something and say it's good, it's bad, and everyone has a different idea. Oh, Sean said it's 2.5, can't be good. To me, I'm like, a 2.5 is fine. I might enjoy a 2.5. Like, it's different to everyone. There's no objectivity. So what is even the point? Like, and it's like, are you grading it on your subjective enjoyment? Are you someone who thinks you have an objective scale of quality? Like, do you really consider yourself a critic, where you're saying, I have a very strict scale where I'm saying this element is responsible for like, everyone is different. So how do we have this? Because Letterboxd says half a star to 5 stars, we all just have to do this. Like, it's just, that's another tangent. But I think that is kind of at the core of a lot of this bullshit. And if you can just look beyond the star rating and get into like just how you feel about it, say watch it, don't watch it, whatever. I just think sometimes that's a waste of time. But anyway, I think my first experience was like a sold out IMAX theater, huge ass screen, really good energy. And I think IMAX made a difference for sure. Like the screen made a difference for sure. It was a better visual and like auditory experience. I saw it in a small like local theater. Love that theater, but it's not the same. I think that's part of it. I think um, knowing what to expect, I kind of I was very much aware of kind of some of the angles the movie's being attacked from, and I kind of was trying to like put myself into those shoes and see how I felt. Some of the things um, I could understand. Some things I still don't understand, and we can talk about that. But um, there is a good bit of exposition. There is a good bit of, saying exactly how you feel. Like there's a monologue from Superman at the end, sort of, where he just delivers the spiel, saying what you've been watching. That stuff can get a little tiresome. There's a few like extra commentary here and there that I think contributes to the like it feeling a little tell don't show at times. Like a tiny thing, like after Mr. Terrific's action scene, like Lois has to go, "Holy shit!" And it's like, yeah, like we just watched it too. Like you don't have to say anything, just like let it be. Like little stuff like that, where I'm just like, but I think that's just tailored towards movies with big audiences. That's just how stuff is going to be. Um, and just little stuff like that. And I do think also another big thing, I think the third act drags out. I think the fight scene with Ultraman um, feels a little bit drawn out. It feels a little bit repetitive. Um, I would have maybe liked to see a little bit more with Bravia and Jaranpur, like that. I would have liked to see them just get the shit kicked out of them by the Justice Gang. That would have been great for another couple minutes. And it's a very sweet, wholesome, like almost sickly sweet movie, where it's like really, it's very kind. It's very much for families. There's a few things. It's like Superman goes into the air and he uses his laser vision, and then they have to show like all those guys are okay on the ground. It's like maybe he just killed all those guys. Like that's fine. It's not a big deal. Like he lasers came out of his eyes and hit people in midair, and then they fell to the ground. Like, and just part of me is like this movie's respect for life and the wholesomeness of it and the cheeriness of it is like very much needed, and I almost appreciate that. And it's like kind of it's a hopeful thing. That's kind of my first takeaway. I still feel that way, but it gets a little bit close to like goofiness a few times for me. But I kind of go back and forth on that. So overall, I still really like the movie. Very much enjoyed it, and I might watch it again in IMAX, but just a little bit, tried to be a little bit more critical, and that was my takeaways.
Sean, how was your theater experience? Was it also like super packed?
Yeah, I wasn't able to go to a press screening the day early. Unfortunately, Dan, you and I could have held hands while watching Superman. That would have been excellent. But I did get to go to one of the ultra capitalist Amazon Prime early screenings. Thank you, Bezos. But because it was an early screening, only super fans are going to buy that. No pun intended. And it was sick. Like I was genuinely stunned that there were so many people in the theater with the new Superman gear on. I was like, "There's no way." I thought I was like getting punked or something. I'm like, are they handing these shirts out? And it like, no, they're just people that excited, which is cool. Like, so obviously I was never that level of it, but it is cool to see that there were people of that level. And so the theater was nuts, like juice to the gills. There were, we'll talk about it, but there were like grown men throwing punches with Superman in some of these fights, like completely unironically, like 2 seats down from me. They were like, like throwing jabs and shit. And I was like, so badly wanted that to be me. But that all had to be said. The experience was sick. And I'm glad that I was in there with people and it was cool to experience it with. It's kind of weird to be like the black sheep, like, I don't know, outside looking in when you're in, you know what I mean? Like I'm like dead center in the seat I always sit in the IMAX theater, not having as good of a time as probably 99% of the people in that movie theater. So I was just like, it was an interesting experience, but it was fun. Like I always, and any early showing, any like opening weekend, like even if it's a movie I'm not super stoked for, I always go to because I'd rather be in a theater with that electricity.
Yeah, I had a similar experience because, like you said, there's tons of people decked out in the t-shirts and everything, and I thought it was insane that I saw like a 5-year-old girl like completely dressed up in Superman, like with a shirt and a cape, and maybe even like a mask on, something like that. I don't know. And I was like, how is she a fan? Like, I don't think I had the cognitive ability to read comic books when I was. I mean, it's a lot of pictures, but still, I don't know. That was just so cool. And then there's a guy who was rushing to a seat 10 minutes beforehand, who's probably like 75 years old. And I was like, man, like this is really cool to see something like this. But I agree with a lot of what Dan said. One thing you didn't mention, I'm just going to come straight out and say it, that is a big positive for me. And I know I've seen for some other people, I think it gets too much. There's a little bit too much of this, but I love crypto. And I feel like that's such a surface level to say thing to say about my first comment about this entire movie was crypto. I'm a dog guy. I got 2 of my dogs out there. I talk to my dogs. I talk to them probably more than I talk to my wife. Like I'm talking for them. I yell at them when we go outside, be like, poop, 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 fucking mosquitoes out here, stuff like that. So a little bit,
Just
maybe,
cutesy stuff with your dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, a little TMI right there. But yeah, this is such a fun movie, and even though maybe Sean, maybe it was frustrating for you to watch, but it feels so lighthearted. There are stakes in it, but you always feel like Superman's going to save the day, and I think that's what maybe people needed right now is, like you said, Dan, that bit of hope. This movie tries to say a lot, and we'll get into the political aspects of it, which, by the way, this movie is political, even though people don't necessarily think it is. I could not really believe what I was watching. Me and Dan talked about it before you jumped on, Sean, but the fact that I don't know if a movie like this would have been made by Disney. And I don't necessarily think that James Gunn delivers or says something really profound when it comes to those aspects. There are obviously scenes that happen towards the end of, good beating evil when it comes to the two countries that are involved with this picture. But even though I think he could have gone a little bit further with it. The fact that it's even present in this movie at all, I think is something that should be looked at as very cool and admirable. And just that's all I see on my feed is people just astonished by, especially because TikTok is very much free Palestine for very good reasons. It's so crazy that crowd, which they should have, by the way, seek out No Other Land. Dan, do we know if No Other Land is even available to watch anymore?
I believe I want to say that website is still live, but I have to double check that.
Okay. It's just so cool that we have a blockbuster movie that people can go and see to get behind that message, even if it is at the surface level. I know, Sean, maybe you can add some thoughts in here because you obviously do agree, and it's so funny because people called you out in your comments. I saw about just not liking the political message of this. You're like, dude, I do. I just don't like the way it was handled. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, like I thought I framed that really well in that review, and
You
for
did.
some reason I still got like people who are like, "Oh, you obvious Trumpy, of course you didn't like it," and then other people being like, "Yeah, bro, for real, like they're emasculating men and stripping our rights away from the white people." I'm like, "What? Where the fuck? Like, what? Where did I fall in this like echo chamber into this black hole?" Um, I'm glad it was in there. I agree with the messaging. Like, I think it's very cool, like you said, that it's in a massive blockbuster that like everyone of all shapes and sizes are going to go see this movie. And I just thought it was done really poorly. I think that like it's cool it was in there, and that's one thing if we want to commend them for that. But it's like I truly I was like this. I felt like they were kind of like slapping you in the face. They're like, "Here, dummy, this is like what's happening in the real world. Like this is the only way you'll understand it if we make a cartoonishly obvious villain leader of this country." I don't know. It was just like very. It's like they didn't give it enough respect to go as deep into it as they should have, and it was all very like cartoony to me, and people are going to be like, it's a comic book, Sean. Of course, it's cartoony, but like you could handle it with a little bit more nuance, and I don't think they're able to because the Justice Gang is in this movie, because the Lois and Clark thing they're trying to dive into, because Bizarro is in this, or I'm sorry, fucking Ultraman or whoever the three character, one person villain in this. You have Lex in this. You have the whole side dimension and all these pocket dimensions. Like there's so much in this movie, and I don't think any of them got the depth that they needed for me to give a shit about any of them. And I think there's a way better movie in here if it's just like a Lois and Clark, and the two of them are on opposite sides of, like, she's the reporter, she's trying to do what's right, and he's the guy that like doesn't give a fuck and wants to save totally not Palestine against all odds. And like it's just the two of them and their conflict and their relationship, with Lex pulling the strings in the background while the Middle East conflict or whatever is going on. I think that would have been excellent, but there's too much in here that I thought was overstuffed and like almost embarrassing. Like I was kind of getting embarrassed. I don't know if anyone else felt that. It was like, it's like, it's so obvious what this is, and it's like maybe people are stupid these days and they need to be told that, but it's like they're not giving it enough respect to, I don't know, give the real details of it. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of where I was. Like I wasn't like, I was like, oh, this is cool, they're doing it, and then the second I saw that that's all it is, it's like, hey, here it is, I was like, all right, maybe not even worth doing it at that point.
To push back a little bit, Sean, like what are you looking for from that? Like what give a little bit more on that. Like,
yeah, so I would have loved to see Superman operating there. I would have loved to see him in the day-to-day in those countries while also navigating the US government, and him saying, I'm not part of any of these three governments, right? Like I want him to have to like solve problems without punching them, and he kind of does that here, but not really. Like I wanted him to be put into this situation where he has to get out of it more with like inspiring people. And maybe I'm expecting too much from a movie like this, but does that make sense?
yeah, I just think like you can't make that movie. You like you can't make this movie. Like you cannot make that movie. You cannot have any type of like personal situations on the ground in like fake God. Like you cannot do that
Sure.
in this movie. And like that's why I try to be like, I think they did what they could, and it already is fairly like bold and aggressive. I do hear your point though, and like, you are getting like a very bare bones assessment of it, but I think people just feel so relieved to not be gaslit. Like we just came off of, and I'm not gonna pull any punches with this, but like we just came off of Brave New World, where you have an ex-IDF soldier playing an Israeli Black Widow, and they reshoot the movie, and she's still a fucking hero. She's on screen so much, and it's like, it's almost like you're gaslighting your audience. Like it's saying fuck you to your audience. Like reality is not real. Watch this fake reality where this Mossad agent basically is your like it's insanity. So just like having a movie that's willing to be like, you know what, that is wrong. And if Superman were here, he would go tear these people's limbs off, right? Like he would drag
put this guy on a
Netanyahu up in the air, and they would, like it's just real. And I think like being willing to say that is really, and bold might not even be the word for it, because I think maybe feelings in America are changing, but looking at the leadership of the country, given how we're currently still very, politically aligned with Israel and what they want in that conflict, like it is bold, especially with a government that's viewed as authoritarian, bordering on authoritarian, doing whatever they want. I think the movie also, like with Lex's like private prison, like to me his little paramilitary, what were they called, world, whatever the fuck they were, like, that's basically what ICE is, no? Like taking people, you see them shoving Superman into the ground, not reading him his rights, taking him away to God knows where. They have all these resources, all this money, and people are going away. You don't know, their families don't know where they are, right? Like that's what we're looking at today. So I think like seeing that, and the whole scene. I mean, the scene with Metamorpho, that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
And like him creating that sun, I love that scene. That might be
That was
my
a sick scene.
favorite scene in the movie, and the people around him being like, "Hey, like, just stop it! Like, stop doing what you're doing. Just listen to them." Like, I love that a lot. So yeah, long-winded way of saying I hear you. I just think like they they can't do what you're looking for, which I wish they could, because that would be great. But that's kind of where I'm at with it, I think.
I think another big reason why they can't do it, and I thought about this as soon as I walked out of the theater. Going into this movie, I had a lot of hesitations towards it for one main reason, and it's because of the cast. Because when they started announcing actors that were involved with it, it was like 15 or 20. I'm like, what do we do? Why is there so many people in this movie? And
Yeah.
it's a very interesting scenario where James Gunn had to come in and basically rescue DC and create. It's all about cinematic universes. Like the Batman is a rarity. The Batman, hopefully, still, I don't want it to cross over into this. I want it to be its own separate thing. So it feels like a more contained story of just the Batman universe. But here with Superman, I don't think this movie ever could have been perfect because it feels like James Gunn, even though essentially this is Iron Man 2008 for hopefully whatever this DCU is going to be, right? This is the starting off point. He kind of creates a whole cinematic universe in one movie, which means he has to put a lot into it. I think he did an absolute terrific job of making that happen. Like, I'm surprised how well this movie works, how smooth the world feels, how Metropolis feels, all of that. I just think that because he had to do that, there's too much here. Like those scenes that you're wanting for when it comes to those two countries, maybe we could have gotten that and could have gotten more time for that. But you got to have more of the Justice Gang. You've got to have, the Daily Planet. I didn't feel like anything really towards anybody in the Daily Planet, but it's a Superman story. Kind of got to have it in there.
What about Lois?
Here's what I'm at. Like if they, I think, I don't want to say they eliminate the political side plot, but like they needed to eliminate something because Lois and Clark's relationship was the best part of this movie. The
100%.
interview scene was fucking fantastic. We all saw it in the trailer. It was extended in the movie. Brilliant. Like incredible scene. Funny, tense. It was awesome. The next best scene in the movie, maybe I like more, is when they come back together and that like interdimensional imp is in the background and they're having another moment after they've fought and stuff. But I didn't connect with them enough in that moment. Like I did. That's where I cried in this movie. But I didn't care about their relationship enough because there wasn't enough buildup outside of like those two moments really. And then the same can be said to me at least with the Kent farm when instantly like this text goes out, the world finds out that like his parents are actually evil, he's here to take over the planet, whatever, and like instantly things flip and change, whatever. I say that happened way too fast. Other people don't care, that's fine. But then like, oh, he goes to the farm, they're to fix it. He's at the farm for 30 seconds, gets one speech from his dad, and then he leaves. And I'm like, just give me a movie with the Lois and Clark stuff. Give me a movie with him, with the world turning on him because of like his decisions that he made overseas or some shit. The U.S. government fucking like blackmailing him and him like overcoming all of that. He has to go find himself again with his parents. He's hiding out there on the farm. You know what I mean? Like there's all these like smaller moments in here that like they could have even still had the corporate Justice League in here. Like I don't think they dove into that enough where it's like he's this solo operating figure without any agenda or money behind him. And these people are the corporate like league that get told, here, point and click and go here and beat up these bad guys. And they're funded by like a big bad. So it's like all of these things feel half baked to me. Maybe not half baked. They just feel just like very surface level. And I'm like, any of these ideas I would have been stoked for. Like there's a movie in here that I might have given a 5 out of 5 genuinely, but because of how surface level all of these things were to me, I just couldn't like attach to any of them.
I think, like, I hear what you're saying about the interview scene was great. You don't have the interview scene without the geopolitical conflict. Like that's what their conflict is built on. So I don't think you can take that out. To me, this might be a hot take. Take the fucking Justice Gang out of the movie. Like, I don't need them. Like, it's you're getting maybe 30 to 50 words from Isabella Marced. Like, Mr. Terrific has...
Yeah, he's great. They're all great, I think. Like, I don't think any of us would say they're not good.
yeah, he's good in this. Maybe if you want to have like one standalone hero, keep him. But like, I don't need like Guy Gardner's funny. Like he is some of the best comedy in the movie. I like what Nathan Fillion is doing, but he's comedy. Hawkgirl's kind of just like used as muscle, and that's it. Like I'm not getting attached to either of them. So if you're gonna peel something out, maybe peel out that stuff and focus on Superman in the Superman movie. You know. Um, And then, like I said, I think the third act, like, I don't need a fucking 25-minute fight with Ultraman, dude. Like, I don't need it. It's just, I don't know, maybe I'm too old for that at this point. I'm just like, wrap it up. Like, Superman's not going to die. Let's just, Um,
Did we like Lex reading off the move sets?
Yes.
We liked it.
I think Nicholas Holt's the best part of this movie, and I know you don't agree, Sean. I think even though everything is, I think that's good directing. The thing about James Gunn's movies is all of his actors really like him. Everyone's a huge fan of him, which is why he gets these people back all the time. And I think there's a lot of jobs of a director, but I think he is so good at getting the performance out of his actors that he wants to get, because there's such a diverse group of pretty unknown talent in this movie. And I think even if you are looking at this as like a parody, which is something you've been throwing around when it comes to how some of these sequences are acted out, everyone seems on the exact same level, which I think is very impressive from a directing standpoint, in my opinion.
yeah,
I don't think there's a single person that's bad. Like, you could say that what they're doing, it doesn't work for you, but there's not one single performance I think stands out like, okay, they seem like they're in a completely different movie, which is crazy because this movie is so absurd at times.
yeah. Rewatching this, one of the main things I was kind of keeping an eye on, I feel like, was the tone, and to see if I feel like that, like the tone was well managed and consistent. I really do. Like, I think this movie knows what it is and doesn't try to do anything else. There are like, I've heard a lot of people say, every serious moment is undercut with humor. That's like a very like sort of copy and paste. It's not true though. Like the best serious moment in the movie, one of them is they're back and forth with the interview, and it ends with her saying, "Yeah, I can't do relationships," and he fucking leaves, and we go to the next scene. Great serious scene. Like there's a few moments like that, especially early on. Um, I would say the heaviest moment in the movie is, um, what Lex does to that guy. I guess we're not spoiling things. What Lex does to that guy. There's sort of a joke where he says something about Clark Kent. And I don't know if that's supposed to be like the audience is supposed to like belly laugh at that.
Mine did.
Yeah, same.
It
I don't
felt
know if they were
fucking
supposed.
stupid to me. Let me go on my Lex rant really quick, bro. I think Lex Luthor was written so poorly in this movie, and I think like Nicholas Hoult does such a good job that like people don't really recognize it. Like I think the people that are screaming comic accuracy, that like this is the most accurate comic book movie that's ever been made, like don't fucking remember what Lex Luthor is like in most adaptations. I'm not going to be the guy that's like every adaptation is the same, but like he was so stupid in this. He was so dumb. Like, yes, he had the cool side plot about, doing this thing to, affect Superman, whatever. But like some of his decisions and where he ends up at the end of this, it felt like another character at times to me. I'm like, this isn't, I don't know if I've ever read or watched anything with Lex that is like that. It was, some of it was in the same ballpark as Eisenberg to me. And like, people hate that. And I'm like, he's just as this eccentric and weird and like goofy, but I guess the movie's tone matches that, so it fits better. But like, I don't know, there's a lot of Lex that Nicholas Hoult is doing great. This isn't a like anti Nicholas Hoult rant. It's just like I think that like he wasn't written anywhere near as cunning, or like it felt like one of those like, oh, he's not Lex yet, he needs to or like the trope where it's like the superhero needs to earn the suit. Like Lex needs to earn being the cunning, maniacal, cold guy. I don't know.
I think what you're saying is exactly right, because I think Superman is supposed to be like 25-ish or this so here. I think this is, and I think the question here is, and you're saying how people are talking about it, does this Lex Luthor have to be another Lex Luthor? Or like, can this just be like, and I'm not comparing that in any way, but like when Heath Ledger had his Joker, like that wasn't the Joker at all. That was Heath Ledger's Joker. That is a standalone thing, really different from pretty much every other iteration of the character, and that's okay. So I think like
Fair take.
what I would like to see from this is a Lex Luthor that will grow, because what I liked in the movie is they just made him, his sole characteristic is envy, and envy will completely consume you to the point where like you can't make any other decision. Like even what he's done in creating the Engineer and Ultraman, like they're only like he's trying to use what he can do simply to counter Superman, and his entire like essence is just, I need to show the world that I'm better than him. Why do they love him? He can't even say the word Superman. He calls him alien. He says Superman like one time, and he can't say it, so he just calls him the alien. Like he has just despises him so much because Superman is just authentically himself and good, and he feels like there has to be something else behind that, right? Like he cannot just be this, and he wants to be loved in the same way. And he has so much stuff, but he has nothing. He's just empty. He's a husk. So I feel like this is a good Lex Luthor to grow and to learn and like, you know, lick his wounds sort of, and maybe calm down and like be like, okay, I'm not just going to blindly throw myself. You know, even the scene where he's kind of risking everything and he's just like, fuck it, I'm going to get his ass. Like, it's fine. Like, we'll figure everything else out. But I agree with you. Like, if we see this Lex Luthor 2 movies from now, it'll be annoying and it'll be played out. So I would agree with that.
That's a great take. I think that's totally fair. If that's the angle they're going, and this is just a little bit different, which is totally fine. Maybe I could have used a scene or two of him like really like resenting, like showing more of his internal resent for Superman and why it like a trigger moment or two. You know what I mean? Like I don't need an origin for why Lex hates Superman. Like I'm not saying that, but like sometimes I don't always
stepping
just
into their dynamic full, and you're just supposed to.
I needed like one or like a quick flashback to like some trigger moment where like I don't know, like that would have helped me a little bit connect the dots to that storyline a bit more. But again, you get the opening crawl to the movie, so they're just throwing you in. So I don't know, maybe it's just the tone and the atmosphere of this was very jarring to me.
You can also kind of take that moment as, okay, well, you know, Lex is trying to scheme in Baravia to take over land, and you know that Superman intervened, and Lex probably had probably was getting the okay from the government, like, you know, we're not going to touch that, so your plan is going to go forward as you've assumed, and then Superman just does his thing. So maybe you can say that could have been kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, but
didn't he say that the whole point he did that anyway was just to piss Superman off, right?
I felt like that was someone who lost a game they were trying to win and then said, I didn't want that anyway. But like,
that's not how it was written. I don't think so. They were trying to do I'm the mastermind. The whole reason this plot existed was because I wanted you here in this very spot. I think that's giving it too much credit, if I'm being honest.
But what he says is, he's like, that was like a secondary goal. Like I'm not even. I feel like to me it's like a guy tries to like hit on a girl at a bar and she's like no, and then he's like, you're ugly anyway. It's like, well,
like Stone does a lot. Yeah.
Like, I felt like it was that kind of energy where like it didn't work out, and then he was like, well, I didn't want that anyway. So like,
all right,
yeah,
fair.
So is the times where we actually see his intellect, is it I've studied Superman so much so that I'm going to predict what he's about to do. So before he does it, I'm going to tell my Ultraman 1A, 2A, 3A.
His obsession, he's channeled his intellect into his obsession and also into the like, you know, the universe stuff. Like that's crazy tech that like they just kind of are like, he's done this, and you're like, all right.
I feel like that's really fun, but it is a way to show that he is very smart. But I think it's a very fun way of doing that. I would say it's funny you brought up Eisenberg. I mean, I'm 2/3 of the way through Dawn of Justice, and bro's not that smart in that movie a whole lot. So I like Eisenberg though. I'm waiting for him to go bald.
I don't think these performances are very similar. I think Eisenberg's very like big and like moving around and like really letting his words like kind of linger, and like everything about Nicholas Holt's performance is very like he's keeping his mouth like closed, like it's all very tight and direct, and like his body language is very like, you know, tight, and Jesse Eisenberg was kind of like all over the place a little bit and like more Jokerish, I think. So I don't.
People call him everything besides Lex Luthor. So
Yeah, it was interesting, but
Alexander Luthor. I didn't even know his name was Alexander. That shows you I'm not like. I thought his name was Lex. I'm like, it's a cool name.
you're not a real fan. It's so
Well,
obvious.
I'm speaking to a real fan now, and I wanted to ask you because me and Dan talked about it again before you jumped on, and I know my thoughts on it, but there's a little bit of debates that's been going on about the twist that happens with Superman's parents. And spoilers, I guess.
yeah.
Go away if you want to. But what did you think about the Jor-El? I forgot. Hold on. I forgot Bradley.
I know.
It happens very early on. I totally forgot. I was like, Philly. You know.
Nah, we don't claim him.
Yeah, he's iffy. He's like depends on the day.
Okay. Well, what did you think?
Yeah, it's fine. Like it doesn't. I think people are going to use that as ammo because I've already seen some of that with it's like, oh, you're calling it comic accurate, but you know Jor-El would never do this, like, and that's not comic. So I think if anything, it's going to be more of a talking point with the annoying sides of the fan bases. But for me, it's fine. Like if they're not going to really do any of the Krypton shit, and they kind of want to make them more of a Viltrumite empire, they want to make them just like a, I don't know, like a Spartan race or some shit, and it's just like go out amongst the stars and take what's yours. Like, I don't really care. I think that was an interesting. I mean, it was telegraphed from the start. I thought like the second it was like, oh, he's never got the second half of this thing. I'm like, okay, great. So that's obviously going to be a big point. They're going to find the second half. It's going to be not what he thought, and then like that's going to be a trigger point, which is fine. It's like it was. I thought that was pretty telegraphed, but like it didn't bother me at all from like a lore standpoint or anything. It's but again, like I just. Show me more about the parents. Like, I don't know. Show me a little bit more with the Kents and why the Kent. Like, they did a little bit, and you get some of the cool moments at the end and flashbacks. And I like the callback where it's like, oh, it soothes him listening to his parents and whatever. But I don't know. I just wanted more of these things. I feel like there's so much here. It's like they're just telling it to you. They're just like they say it to you, and then this is facts. And there's no like sitting there and living in it for a second.
I'll say I read an article for a video I made that says has been done multiple times before.
Yes.
I don't necessarily know if this was in like obviously the first comics, but the first example they give was I guess Smallville did something where his father was actually evil.
Brock made a whole video about it. And yeah, it's been done before. And you know, in Smallville, it's funny. I've just restarted my Smallville rewatch last night, which is just excellent. Like I don't know, 90s or 2000s, like soap opera superhero shit, which is just so fun to rewatch. But yeah, like it's a cool like it's a great foil to Clark. Like if he's like it's so interesting where this guy is like thinks his parents were the best, idolizes them, he's doing exactly what they asked, and then his whole world turns. I think that's great. I think that's cool. I was kind of thinking that like while that happened, the engineer like fucked with the message, but I was like, all right, are we just gonna go evil? Okay, or whatever, not even evil. I don't know what you call it, but I think it's fine. I just wanted more from it. I just wanted more from that storyline and the public against him. I think that all got resolved like kind of way too fast.
I told Dan it makes me very excited for something we see at the end of this movie, Supergirl. Like how does Supergirl factor into Krypton, and did she know about that message? And is Supergirl?
Yeah.
I mean, we were trying to do research on it, we couldn't find it. But is Supergirl going to be a direct sequel to this? Is it going to be a prequel?
It'll be. So there's like a great comic like that this is going to be based on from Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And it's kind of an origin. It's kind of a modern take on it. And it's basically like she got sent off planet when she was this old, basically. So she has like full memories of everything. She remembers everyone dying around her. Like she remembers all the trouble and triumph and all the bullshit. And like, I don't know how they'll tie this in if she's like, oh yeah, like we just, you know, if she's like a Kryptonian that like doesn't care about the people, like I don't like she's very depressed, like when they were like, oh, she goes off world so she can get drunk under red suns, like that happens in the books and shit, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, you know, there's some interesting story plot lines that they can go into with that, but I don't I don't know what they'll do with the movies. At least I'm excited for the movie. I like Millie Alcock, and you get Jason Momoa just playing Jason Momoa with like black and white face paint on. So like as Lobo, I should say. So like I think it'll be fun, and it's more like romping adventure than like this is. So I don't know.
It should be a fun movie, I feel like. Sean, one thing I wanted to ask you about, I saw your video about the like messianic stuff about Superman. Is that something you were like looking for here, or what is your approach towards that?
So I always think it's interesting when there's like a bunch of layers to shit, right? And the reason that I like the Man of Steel movies and Zack Snyder's vision for Superman, a lot of people are going to be like, this isn't exactly what those movies are, but like there's so many layers to there where it's like it's a guy wandering the earth trying to find out who he is, how to fit in with these people, while also finding exactly what he wants, and then what he wants puts him in this place where he's like finding out that like people are worshiping him, and that's a whole other like it's a different level of conflict that again he can't punch his way out of. So I think that it's very interesting where it's like this guy who is a Boy Scout, loves saving people, he'll save the squirrel out of the way from a car, he'll do anything for people, he's hokey and he's Midwestern, but then at the same time he'll get people that look at him as this savior, this like godlike figure. And I like that dichotomy where he's just like, he knows that people will look at him like that, and he has that weight on his shoulders. Like he can do anything. He's burdened by that, and that troubles him. But at the same time, he overcomes that because he's Superman, because he's Clark Kent, because like he knows how to talk to people and relate to humanity. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but I think when that level of like existentialism is there with Superman while he's battling like how to be a ground level person because he's a good person at his core, I just think that makes for interesting storytelling. And most of my favorite comics or stories have parts of that in there. Maybe it's not the key plot line. I don't need like direct, a specific religious symbol that it relates to, but I think anytime there's like that mythological, godlike, ethereal, like part of Superman, and I know people are like, that's not who it is, but I do think that's part of him. And I think I miss that from this movie where it's like there's almost no, it's almost like he doesn't matter in this movie. Like everyone loves him, that's cool, they should, but like there should also be some level of like, oh my god, this dude's like, I don't know, like a little less rock star and more like, oh, can you believe he's here? I don't know if that makes sense. Not everyone's going to feel that way, but that's kind of where I'm at. And I wish we got a little bit more of that like aura, that like, holy shit, that's Superman in this movie. There's a couple shots, couple moments, but it never did it for me.
I'm gonna get a crazy poll here, but is it possible, because I think he's been around for 3 years now, and maybe that messianic idolization of him has died down just a little bit, because I'm currently watching Batman versus Superman. I think Batman versus Superman takes place 18 months after Man of Steel. So it's a little bit, what is it, 18 months? So yeah, it's like halfway to what this movie is, half the time. So maybe people were treating him that way, but the more they get to know him, and maybe he had, I mean, it would have been, I'm going to say this, you're like, exactly, that's what I want to see. But maybe he had dealt with those problems being the man that he is, and is able to use his kindness and his skill to convince these people not to treat him that way. And that is a huge conflict that he had to deal with. But now, because it's been 3 years, this is Superman. He's a human, as he says at the end of the movie. He's just like us. He feels like a friend, but also at the same time, he's your friend that has superpowers. So I'm not going to treat him in that way because he feels like a citizen of Metropolis.
I also think like it's really, I mean, I think there's an interesting conversation there. First of all, to quickly say, it feels like a world and a metropolis that's very much adjusted to like when that big kaiju thing is there, they're all just kind of like, huh, like not a lot of urgency. Also, not a lot of people dying. So if everyone survives everything, you don't got to run away. But the Messiah Superman as gods. Like, to me, and I kind of talked about this in a video. Um, I've read Watchmen. I feel like Zack Snyder thinks Superman is Dr. Manhattan, and he's not. And like, I like Man of Steel. Um, I feel like it gets a little worse in Batman vs Superman when he really kind of gets into it, and like he's really trying to get at that, like, man versus God type thing. But like, when you think about what Zack Snyder did with the character, and also I think it was Superman Returns, right? That had the fucking him doing the fucking T pose, or in the yeah. It's almost, I don't want to say it's wrong, but like he's Moses, like he's modeled after Moses and Samson. So when you take this Jewish hero created by two Jews before the Holocaust, and you say, "Oh, he's Christ," like the Jewish folks don't think Christ was divine. So like it's a really odd thing to do when you really think about it. And like I'm not saying you can't do that, and like there's different versions of the character, but like Moses was just a man who was very reluctant, who was chosen by God, who was basically taken as a baby and saved from a genocide and sent down a fucking river and was told to find a new home. Like, he is Superman, and like Kal-El is the voice of God. Like, I see him more in that vein as like a man who has divine purpose rather than a divinity in and of himself. And I think like, obviously there's no, like, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but I think like it's really like that Superman movie was strange when they made that direct parallel to Christ. I'm like, that feels like it's going a little too far, but I don't know.
I mean, there's parts I like, yeah, like characters evolve, and maybe it's not always like some will do Christ, some will do like an amalgamation of all of them, and like I just like when there's that level of existentialism of like he knows he's expected or he can do these things, and different groups of people are going to be asking different things from him, and how does he decide what he does and what he doesn't do, and maybe like I think that that's a very important part of the character where it's like I don't know, like the ground level that doesn't matter to people, but at 30,000 feet up, like he can do whatever the fuck he wants, and like it's not like he knows that, and he like I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like he knows all these other people are looking at him like a divine fae figure, and Jor-El's always gives him the message like you can save these people, like you teach them how to run. They don't know how yet. You can help them. You could save all of them, and like he's trying to figure out how to do that. And this movie doesn't really do that at all, which is okay. I'm not saying that's like a reason why I didn't like it. It's just something I look for because I think that's very interesting. I think that's hopeful when a guy like that can find the answer. Like in Man of Steel, I find so much hope in that movie because he finds the answer to impossible things that people are asking of him. And I think that's so cool.
One thing I did want to say that I liked, and I rewatching and I made a note to talk about it, but like I did love the scene, and I'm like, this is a quick tangent, but I saw someone, just a random person, talking and basically saying he didn't like this movie because Superman is essentially representative of the U.S. government. So when you have, and the Justice Gang in that, so when you have the Justice Gang with Hawkgirl essentially assassinating like a foreign head of state, it pushes this idea that U.S. interventionism actually is okay, because even though you're sidestepping Lex Luthor and the U.S. government, you're saying, okay, but we have our heroes to do this for us. I think I like that is the generally kind of accepted viewpoint towards that, and that's what a lot of like I've talked about that with Iron Man, stuff like that. But I think the point that misses is when there is a true atrocity happening on Earth, whether it be in Israel or in Sudan or wherever, these people would be doing that shit. Like, this is what they would be doing on Earth, and like it doesn't matter who it is or what country they're from or anything. Just like this is the reality. Am I echoing now?
Yeah, Stone pressed the button, and now it's echoing.
He'll be back.
He hit the echo button.
I just think like thinking about it in that way, where like it is wrong, quote unquote, but there are some situations that are so dire and such an atrocity that like that is just what we would be seeing. And I think it is an interesting conversation because you can view it as, as that person said, but you can also view it as just because, and he literally, to get to my point, he literally says, I am not acting for the US. I'm not acting for anyone. I'm doing what I want. And like, that's kind of, I feel like getting at what you were saying there,
Yeah.
but, you know, in that one scenario.
I just wanted more of that because I think that's cool. And all of that to say, David Cornsweet's awesome in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he's Superman to me and so damn good. I don't know. I just wanted to love this movie. I wanted
Would
to
you
love
be
this movie.
would you be down for seeing him as a Jedi Knight?
No, now I just want him as Superman, bro. He's got to.
He keeps throwing that around, man. He's like, yeah, I like being Superman, but I want to be in Star Wars.
It's like, dude, why do you want to be in Star Wars now? Like, wait till it gets good again.
Yeah, dude, cast him instead of Ryan Gosling. I mean, I love Ryan Gosling. It's funny though because I think he even said he wants to be like a starfighter, like pilot or something like that, which is kind of what that movie is about.
David Cornsweet's the man.
I have another question for you guys, really quick. My one, I like this movie a lot. I think one of my concerns is, do you think this movie puts this universe into a box tonally? Like, do you think they have the ability to step out and make, so say they make Brave and the Bold, and they want to, if they, make that, like, can that be darker? I've heard a lot of, like, the chatter about Robert Pattinson's Batman and this, like, what are we doing?
Insane.
And no disrespect if you want that. Just like I straight up do not understand. That would be so awkward and like just let these two things exist. Like let that be its own universe. But like, do you think there's wiggle room where they're going to give us? I assume this Lantern series will be pretty dark. They're kind of like intergalactic detectives. I'm assuming it's going to be a dark story. They're saying True Detective this and that. Like, do you think it's all going to be kind of in this vein, or what do you think it's going to be looking like?
I think it's going to be very in this vein, and I think you're going to get like some minor tonal shifts, but you're always going to get a little bit of the quippy nature, and it's fine. I don't mean I feel like quip has become like a bad word. It's not always a bad word. It's just like become.
So do you
common.
think Batman will be more like the '60s?
No, I think it'll be more like Justice League animated Batman,
Okay.
where I think like Batman he'll be funny and we'll be laughing at the movie because he's Batman and everything acting.
He'll be the
around
straight
him,
guy. Just
he'll be like, you fucking morons. They're just like, he'll
Yeah.
disappear. Like he'll do that shit where we're just like, I love Batman. Like he's so funny. Like he'll be the black and white where all the colorful is all around him. I think they'll do that. Like, especially if they're going to do the Bat family dynamic, I think there's going to be a lot of comedy in there because the all the other Robins and shit, they're all funny. I think with Lanterns, you're getting Guy Gardner in that. Nathan Fillion just came out and said he hasn't said the word fuck more times in any project he's ever been in than in that show. So like, I imagine he'll be just like, it'll be Superman Guy Gardner, but just dropping the F-bomb instead of saying shit. Like, I think it's going to be both sides. And I think they're going to try to toe the line, and I get a little anxious about it. But it is a shared universe, so like you kind of have to choose a tone. And I know people are like, "Oh, you don't really have to," but like if you really want them to feel like they're going to all eventually interact, I feel like some similar tone needs to operate, which is why I don't understand the Robert Pattinson shit because they're like, "Oh, they're so different. That's why it'll work." I'm like, nah, dog. Like Gotham isn't a pocket dimension that feels like a different planet compared to this. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I mean, I literally think that we have a project coming out that's going to be the test to show us if they're going to do something different tonally, because I think the character fits possibly a different tone, and that's Clayface. Like, is Clayface going to feel like this movie? I don't. I mean, the director of the previous director did Speak No Evil. It's not the international version, the foreign language version, but the new remake with James McAvoy. So, which is darker. So, is it going to feel like a James Gunn movie, or is it going to feel like a horror movie, like what he has done before?
I will say, to not to push back, but like, I think when Marvel was succeeding, they were able to like actually have different directors directing different genre movies, giving different characters different feels and like. I think one of the keys is making sure characters fucking talk differently. when you have every character talk the same way, say the same shit, make the same jokes, have the same cadence, it's like, what the fuck is even a character? And it's like everything became Feige. But I feel like before, and like once you get into like Avenger, like you kind of get that homogenized feel of Marvel, quote unquote. But like they still had some variance. So I hope they're able to, and I think I'm glad James Gunn is giving different directors different opportunities, and I think he most likely he knew this was huge. He knew the universe financially hinged upon this movie, so he said, "I'm gonna definitely take the reins here." But hopefully, he learns from Feige and says, "Y'all can do your jobs, make your good movies, and make the movie you want to make, and they will all eventually come together." But one thing when you mentioned Justice League Unlimited, one character I would love to see who was actually in the Batman the Brave and the Bold series 2 is the Question. I love him so much, and I feel like he can make for an incredible maybe not a movie because I don't know who would go to see that, but like a TV series would be sick. I think he's so fucking cool.
Like, though, I think they should have made Lanterns a movie and then had the Question
Yeah.
be, because there's so many interesting plot lines with the Question where like he's kind of like Rorschach, right? Like he's the one that's like tying. I mean, he is like they're the same. And so like he's the one kind of tying all these threads together.
Nazi Rorschach.
Exactly. So it's like that would be sick. Where I think like they say like Lanterns is going to be the one that introduces us to like the big bad threat. Like maybe not directly, but it's going to be the thread we pull that like ties this whole chapter together. And like that maybe that'll be cool. And I'm very stoked for Lanterns. That's like by far the most excited I am for any DCU project. But that would have been cool if that was like a, I don't know, like why is a Green Lantern not a movie? They're two pillar Justice League members that we're putting on a show. Like, make the Question.
They might be afraid of the past of Green Lantern. Just with,
I know it sucks.
People
it sucks they have to operate like that.
Yeah.
But
because he's such a cool, like, he's a you can do anything character. Like the possibilities are endless. Like
that would have been sick. And I think they're going to go that way where we get like the Plastic Mans and we get like all these just like niche side characters that get one episode in those shows, but are super cool. So I'm excited for all this. Like, I know it sounded like I'm shitting on this movie, and like, I give it a 2.5 out of 5. I'm excited to rewatch it when I won't go see it in theaters, mostly because I have a newborn and I can't get out of the house as easy as I used to. So if I didn't, I'd probably go see it tomorrow. I'd be like, I need to go see this movie again, just to get some confirmation. But I'm still excited for this world. I just don't think James Gunn would have been my pick to direct a Superman movie. It felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy and drop Superman in there in Metropolis. That's me. I made a comment that was like, if you're someone that thinks that Superman should feel like the Suicide Squad in Guardians of the Galaxy, like we're just two different people. Some people are like, yeah, it's colorful comic books, they should feel that way. I disagree, but that's just preference. So like there is a world out here where we could have gotten like a Christopher McQuarrie Superman movie. Like we could have gotten like, I don't know, from someone with a little bit more umph and maybe also have the comedy to it. But maybe that'll come in Superman 2. Maybe Gunn's gonna do the I need control over all of this. I don't know, but regardless, my DC fandom's gonna shine through.
Speaking of McQuarrie, I think they said they modeled a lot of his flying sequences after Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked those sequences. I liked how close they got. It felt really fast. I thought those were fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun in this. Like, I don't like it's, just like 2.5 sounds really bad, but like I would have given it like a 0.5 star or a 1 if I hated this shit, like, but there are parts that I'm like, hell yeah, that was dope. It's fun. It's big, fun, colorful action movie.
Let me ask you guys this: after we had seen one of the titular characters be teased at the end of this movie, are you more excited for Supergirl now because of this movie, or still more excited for Clayface?
I don't give a shit about Clayface. Like I'm so tired of hearing about Clayface, dude. I think like I think the Clayface, like, I'm sorry if you're excited for it, but like I think the Clayface hype is so funny to me. It's like, okay, bro, we all love the one episode of Batman the Animated Series that did it excellently. Like, we're all excited that they're doing a side character that doesn't get a lot of hype or whatever. It hasn't been done in live action, but like, what? I don't know.
You're not gonna act like you're Clayface's #1 fan.
I have a lot to say about this roadmap that James Gunn put out, and like has like there's no hard hitting things. It's kind of just all just randomly being put together for these next movies. I don't want to do that whole conversation right now, but
I
I am
agree.
excited. I am excited for Supergirl. I really like Millie Alcock. I think she was awesome in House of the Dragon. I think she's going to have like a great like leading woman energy to this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Am I more excited after this? I don't know. I was kind of excited for it already. I was more excited for that than I was for this, if that makes sense, which sounds weird, but
It's tricky, man. I get what you're saying about Clayface, because wouldn't you assume that we would maybe get a Batman film and not Wow Eyes Creature Commandos like the number one before Superman comes out kind of a thing? It's like I love it and hate it at the exact same time, because his whole thing is I'm not gonna greenlight any project until I have a good script. Sure, but don't you have like the story mapped out in your mind though of how this? Because I just read something. I'm gonna read it after we log off here. But basically, Supergirl wasn't planned to be like the second movie in his universe, in his 10-year plan that he was going to do, but now it is, because he literally said, because the script was so good, I greenlit that so fast, we got to filming it. It's strange, but we'll see how it all comes together. I don't know.
I like I was on a friend's pod the other day, and I was ranting so hard about that. Oh, we only greenlight the best scripts thing, and I'm like, then don't come out and say you have a whole chapter of gods and monsters, and this is leading up to an ultimate big bad, and don't say that as if your script for your Superman movie is the fucking best thing that's ever existed. Like, I don't think anyone's going to argue that. You could like it, but like, it's not like holy shit, the Superman script is excellent. Like, no, it's a big fun blockbuster. Like, he's so in on this. Oh, the script's got to be, it's got to really impress me. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, make your plan, put out the roadmap, get people to make good scripts in your roadmap, and don't greenlight Creature Commandos because you made it. Don't greenlight Peacemaker season 2 and mold it into these things. I know they were already being made, but then like, oh, then the next thing is Supergirl. All right, Lanterns is a TV show. Then we have all of these projects that nothing is happening with them. Brave and the Bold isn't happening. The Authority isn't happening. Swamp Thing isn't happening. I don't know. There's like Booster Gold isn't happening. Like, all of these were movies and projects that were announced. The Wonder Woman like Paradise Lost or some shit like HBO show that they said was going to be like Game of Thrones. That's not happening. Like, what's happening next? Like, why are we doing this?
What about Luca and Justin Krzyzkis' Sergeant Rock?
Oh yeah,
Exactly. That was one that's just like came out of nowhere. They're
Ain't
like,
no
the script's so fucking good, I need to do it, and then nah, it's gone. It's like, what is next? Like, what are we doing?
Is Swamp Thing not happening with Mangled?
Like, when I say not happening, I'll be clear. Like,
This is very vague.
nothing's
nothing has
moving.
happened yet.
There's nothing moving, and Gunn is someone who will tell you plain and clear. He'll be so excited to tell you that something's been greenlit, or an actor's been cast, or a director's been brought into the fold, or a writer's been brought in. Like, I know, like, there's Teen Titans conversations that like, oh, someone leaked the writer for Teen Titans maybe, but like, that wasn't even a movie that was part of this program. It's like, what are we doing? And it's fine. I'm not someone that needs this movie and I need to see the next 10 movies to see if to validate my likeness for this one. But I don't know. I just get annoyed with Gunn because I think he's got a lot of double standards. And I think, like, I don't know, they keep talking about this shared universe and they're kind of, I don't know, it's Superman and Supergirl and like a Lantern show and Peacemaker, I guess. Like, is that your Justice League? Like, there's no Flash movie, there's no Wonder Woman, there's no fucking Aquaman, there's no Martian Manhunter, there's no Cyborg, like, there's no nothing. Like, I'm like, where's the Justice League? I don't know. How long we gotta wait?
Well, we got Avengers. Oh, it wasn't that long,
bro. It was like 4 movies in.
Yeah.
Can I tell you
and I'm not saying we need to copy that. I don't want to be that asshole.
I don't mind waiting like 5-10 years for like team up shit. I'd rather have just good movies. Like,
I agree, but it doesn't even sound like we have anything happening next. Is my thing. It's like, you got to have something to attach the audience to. Like, do you have Superman fans because it's Superman? Are they all going to go watch Sergeant fucking Rock? No. I would. The 3 of us would go and we'd probably love it. It'd be a 4.5 out of 5 for all of us. But you need another heavy hitter. You're not going to do Batman because Pattinson's operating right now. They're going to wait till that trilogy or whatever is done, and then they'll get their own in the fold. But like,
it's going to be fucking 15 years.
That's what I'm saying. I just confused as to what's happening next. But I don't know. That's not in relation to this film. That's just my Gun rant.
Can I tell you how inexperienced I am with comics? I don't know if this is supernaturally racist of me, but I thought like I was like, was hold on,
Careful.
bud, you'll get it, you'll get it, you'll get it. I was like, when I saw that green baby, I'm like, is that Martian Manhunter?
But I don't blame you for that. Like, I
I
mean,
was like, it's a green guy.
Why do we just never get his stories? Like he's so fucking cool. Like
so sick.
I don't understand.
Oh,
My favorite is when Zack Snyder just like retroactively made the general Swanwick into Martian Manhunter, and he was like,
So weird.
"Nah, yeah, he's just been watching over everything the whole time." I was like, "Fuck it, I'm in. Get him in
oh
here."
wait, the general that Lois Lane goes to.
Spoilers. Yeah,
It's
sorry.
okay, it's all right, dude. When I'm
But no,
watching,
we didn't know that till like 3 years ago.
I didn't know that they're like really trying to heavy like go straight into Justice League with this movie because all of a sudden Barry Allen just like pops into this movie. I'm like, what is he doing here? It's all a dream. I'm like, oh, okay.
There's a lot of dope shit that I think could have happened in there that we won't get into right now. But they were kind of speed running, kind of under like studio pressure, kind
Yeah,
of under
Hans
rewrites
Zimmer's
and shit.
score for Wonder Woman's already in this thing. I'm like, damn, that's cool. Which
Banger.
is sick. I got to see that live, but I was like, they like previewed her score 1 year before the movie came out because I think Wonder Woman came out in 2017 and then this movie came out in 2016.
Yeah,
That was cool though. I
yeah,
was down to hear that. That was the
yeah.
best score of the entire movie.
Oh, it's sick. Yeah, it's fucking.
It's a great score.
I know. There's
But
a lot of good stuff in there, but this
I totally get what
movie,
you're saying though, man. People are so blinded and want this universe to be so good, which is a fair thing to want. But I get what you're saying. Like the plan isn't planning out the way Gunn said. But he's like, have faith in me. You know, I know what I'm doing. You're not showing that right now. So I totally get your
yeah.
you saying that. You know.
But just make good movies, like Dan said. I don't want to be the guy who needs to see the roadmap to determine if my interest in these things. So make good movies. I might not have liked this one too much, but there's a lot coming down the pipe that I'm excited for, and whether it's any corner of DC. We don't even know if Clayface is part of the DCU or if that's the Batman
A lot of
saga.
Clayface talk tonight.
A lot of Clayface. Oh, fuck Clayface, bro. Mid character.
Clayface is the star of the DCU now.
He's in the Justice League with where we're at. We got Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, and Clayface. That's the Justice League right now. Listen, I'm trolling.
I said, as you said it multiple times, you gave it a 2.5. You didn't hate this movie. You just
Correct.
were sad and disappointed that you didn't like it more. I think me and Dan both gave it a 4. He was a 4.5, but came down just a little bit. But they don't matter though. They don't matter.
They don't matter. No, they don't.
Sean, I wanted to ask you. This is maybe for my own personal advantage or taste, but we usually recommend movies at the end of this. The pod, as you've been on before many times. What's a comic book that I need to check out or that people should check out that for Superman or any comics, I guess, that you think would be good to go into right after this? I mean, we talked about it. I bought All-Star Superman, first comic ever.
All-Star's dope.
Very fake fan right there.
Fake
I know
fan.
that was very heavily inspired by this movie.
We just bought this one, which is, I don't know if you could see that image. Looks like a sexual book from like the 50s. But it's the World Saga, which is excellent. But this is kind of the big hitter. You see the size of this?
Yeah,
like,
I saw that in the comic book store.
This is the like compendium of the death and return of Superman. One of the most iconic comics ever. I've read this before, not in this format, so I'm excited for that. But if I'm like recommending, like I always recommend graphic novels because it's like you're not going to go out and buy like 30 volumes of a book. So I think Kingdom Come is an excellent comic book. I think it's a little bit more of the vibe that I'm looking for. It's a one-off. It's really, really fucking good. It's Alex Ross who did all the art for it, who's an icon. If you want something more modern, I think Superman Birthright is really, really good. It's kind of in the same vein as All-Star. It's a little less like fantastical and zany, a little bit more grounded. I think Absolute Superman right now, it's an ongoing run. It's kind of Elseworlds, kind of a brand new crazies, bullshit thing they're doing, but recreating the character for a whole new like run, which is excellent. So I don't know. Like the best part about this is you can just kind of go out and find any comic you want. And I had that whole video where everyone's like, "You're a fake fan because you didn't like this movie, and this was the most Superman movie ever, and like you obviously don't know anything." And I'm like, "Well, I've read all those books," and they're like, "Well, then you didn't." All the ones that they point to is All Star Superman. It's Superman Up in the Sky. It's a couple of these a Superman for all seasons. It's these really sweet, caring, like I don't want to say surface level. That's not fair to them. It's just like, it's not fair. It's not fair at all. But it's just very sweet and uplifting and like honorable Superman books, and they're great, and I love them. All Star Superman's like the best of those bunch, in my opinion. But then like on the other side, like people can discredit them, but Kingdom Come, like fucking, I don't know. I could like Death and Return of Superman, like these books that have so much more weight to them and some of this more symbolism that I'm looking for and these more like real conflicts and consequences. That's what I trend towards. So I don't know. That's not everybody's favorite thing. I like Superman Red Sun's behind me. It's when he like if he got dropped in the Soviet Union instead of the US and how like he would have, if does he grow up the same or is he influenced by the Soviet Union? Like there's so many interesting stories out there that like I'll never say like that's the wrong comic. Like don't read that one. Superman Earth 1 is basically just Man of Steel in a comic book. And people are like, fuck that. I'm like, I get it. You don't like Man of Steel. You're not going to like that comic book. That's fine. But I don't know. Any of them are valid. I just think like those would be few that I listed would be ones I recommended.
Nice.
You agree, Dan?
I don't know shit. I'm reading fucking All Star Superman like you are. That shit's wild.
It's fun. It's really fun.
But, yeah.
And that's like people like when I said surface level, that's not correct for All Star Superman at all. It's like that's kind of like I think the author for that even said they were kind of treating it like it was like the book itself is a religious text of like learning how to live like Superman. It's like here's what like
it's parables. Like
exactly. Yeah. So it's like, and I think it's really fun. And I wish I saw more of that in this movie because all Gunn did was say, "Oh, this is about All-Star Superman," and then that's all anyone tells me in my comments. I'm like, I didn't see a single.
As I was reading it, I was like, "What is the comp? Like, what are we?"
There's kind of none, but in my opinion, I don't think there really is. That might be another video that I'll make at some point where I'm like, where the fuck did this comp?
Yeah, I was going to ask you to literally make that because as I was looking at it, I was confused.
It's a great book and people love it. And he's a more sweet, loving, respectable Superman without a lot of super existentialism. So maybe that's where it comes in, but I don't know. People just like Superman that helps people more directly. And we probably need that right now. So David Cornsweet, I'm glad we have him for the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, but if you were to make that video, where can people find you so they can watch it?
Great plug God right here. Modern Mythos Media. My guy's doing like fucking wrestling intros in the background. It's John Cena. Modern Mythos Media, TikTok and IG are my two main. I'm doing YouTube shorts, but that's fine, I guess. Letterboxd, I'm on there, but I'm giving your favorite movie a 2.5 out of 5, so probably don't follow me there. But yeah, it's
be respectful, people.
Be respectful. Don't just comment anything you want. Help me feed my child. That'd be great. while you're hating me, I'm lining my pockets with your hate.
That's what Superman would do. Just think about your child.
What Superman.
It's the Rage Farm monkeys.
The Rage Farm. We didn't get to that. I had a note to talk about that. That was so dumb. I'm sorry.
I thought that shit was hilarious.
Of course, it was funny, but I'm like, come on. It's like, oh God. I don't know.
Well,
maybe I'm a monkey. Maybe I'm a monkey.
I'll say the monkey bots. Comment down below whether you like Superman or not. Hopefully, you guys are watching it. Help out our views a whole lot. But thanks, Sean. Again, I think this is your 4th time, I believe, on Goodwill Podcasting. After Batman, 2 Star Wars episodes, now Superman. Fun times as always. Late nights as always. It feels like. But hey. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Let us know what you thought about Superman. There's a lot of diverse opinions out there, I feel like, so it'll be interesting to hear from you if you do comment on this video or wherever you're listening to this. But until next week, please go outside this week. Touch some grass. Sean touched some grass today. You should as well. He told us about that earlier. Sit on a park bench, call up your friends, and we'll see you then. Peace out, everybody.